Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the State of the City inaugural address. The City of Miramar is very happy that each and every one of you came this evening. I am your Mistress of Ceremonies, former radio personality Tamara G., but I am also a very happy employee of the City of Miramar in the Office of Marketing and Public Relations under the City Manager's Office. I'm very happy to be here this evening. At this time, we will ask everyone to stand as we present our colors by the City of Miramar Police and Fire Honor Guard. The Pledge of Allegiance will now be recited by the Miramar Early Childhood Academy of MiramarFL.gov, followed by the national anthem by Rochelle Lightfoot, the Sweetheart of Song.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the
Thank you, Rochelle Lightfoot, Sweetheart of Song, Retire Colors. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to the stage the mayor of the city where we live, work, and play, Mayor Wayne M. Messam.
Good evening, Miramar. I figured I'd play it safe by only playing the instrumental of that song. Before I get into the address on a more solemn note, I would like for us to pause as a community and as a city to keep in our thoughts and our prayers the families of the victims in Roseburg, Oregon. I'm not sure if you have heard, there was a tragic shooting at a community college out in Oregon this morning. Right now, the tally is about 13 fatalities, and so we'll pause for a moment to keep our fellow municipality, Roseburg, Oregon, in our hearts and our prayers. Thank you. You know, over the past year, the City Commission and our city staff has carefully tended the routine business of running the city. But even in the face of real challenges that are left before us, and because of the shared vision that we all have as a community with our residents, citizens, and our business community, we have to also be able to cast an eye forward of where we will go. But before we can talk about where we will go as a city, it's always great to know where you're coming from and to kind of step back for a minute to see what you've accomplished over the last year or so. You know, historically, the state of the city was more catered towards the business community and specifically the Miramar Pembroke Pines Chamber of Commerce to give the business community a pulse of what's going on in the city to ensure our business community that the city is going in a positive direction and to get feedback in terms of how we can work with our business community to keep them moving forward. When I became mayor, I felt that in terms of the city address, I thought that it would be great to include the community as a whole because everyone needs to know about the city because everyone's not here at City Hall every day like we are. Everyone is not necessarily aware of all the programs, all the resources, and sometimes the majority of the community only pays attention to the city when they want to use our parks or if there's a problem that the city has to resolve, and especially during tax time that we just passed by. So I felt that we need to go ahead and open it up to the community, and that's why for my inaugural address, I opened it up for the community so that this can be an annual affair where we can present the state of the city to inform our residents of the business of our great city. Thank you. Now, this address will highlight aspects of our business sector, which has been previously done by my predecessor, but I also want to highlight some of the economic development and the growth in the city. And I also wanted to touch on some of the quality of life benefits of being a resident here in the city of Miramar, or even owning a business here in the city of Miramar. And then I'll also have an opportunity to present a couple of initiatives that will come out of the mayor's office if we had an opportunity to hear from a couple of my colleagues in terms of their direction for the upcoming year. And once I'm done with that presentation, then we'll have an opportunity, as you saw in the video, the city of Miramar turns 60 years old this year. 60 years. Look how far we've come. And continuing that celebration, after this presentation, we'll have a reception next door in our banquet hall, and I'll look forward to shaking your hands, speaking with you, along with my colleagues and the city staff, and we can break bread over some punch and some cake. So I'm glad I hear some kids in the audience, and I'm sure they'll be very happy and hyper when they get home after drinking so much punch and cake. But before I go into the presentation, I highlighted some of the great things that our city is doing, and a testament of the great work of our staff. I just wanted to highlight a couple of the accomplishments, awards, and recognitions by our city as a whole, and even some of our departments. It's included in your handout that you can take a look at to look at the comprehensive list. But our city is nationally recognized in various in association and industries, and it's something that the residents and the business community of Miramar can definitely be proud of all the hard work of our city, and it's not going unnoticed. Our peers and other municipalities, counties, state, and federal regulators are recognizing the great work that's taking place here right in the city of Miramar. So again, we thank our city staff for all the great work that they're doing. For our business climate in the city of Miramar, you know, business activity is so important in any city. If industry isn't in place, there isn't a place to work. There isn't a place to buy goods and services. And Miramar is doing actually pretty well as it relates to business activity. Miramar is known as an aviation hub. Being equidistant from both airports, many companies right here in the city of Miramar are supplying the aviation industry. In fact, just the other evening, the Aviation Consortium of Miramar had another reception here where they received legal advice in terms of their industry. I think over 30 companies were represented. Some companies are Fortune 500 companies to small suppliers right here in the city of Miramar. And it's been so successful that it's actually being spread throughout. There's talks of making the consortium countywide. Again, Miramar setting the trend, setting the standard, and paving the way for economic activity, and we're proud of our aviation sector hub. And some of you already know that Spirit Airlines is actually headquartered right here in the city of Miramar. We're adding many new high-paying jobs, and I'll share some statistics about how well we're doing in terms of adding new jobs in our city. And Miramar, in terms of having Fortune 500 presence, has unmatched presence of Fortune 500 companies that are either headquartered, regionally headquartered, or some form of presence in the city of Miramar. And that is a striking statistic to be able to tout. So in terms of property value, attracting other businesses, that's a very important statistic to be able to tout as a city. I don't know if there's any other city that can claim more Fortune 500 companies. So none have stood up yet over the years to say that they have more, so we'll keep claiming that statistic. Now, in terms of corporate activity over the last year and a half, there's been over $17 million direct investment in the city of Miramar. Improvement of over 200,000 square feet. You see our industrial parks and other commercial areas in our city, and that has created over 190 jobs up until April. I separate April of this year to share this fact. Since April 2015, Miramar has brought in 3 new major companies, totaling 130 more jobs, millions of dollars of capital investment, and these are high-paying jobs since April. What's really funny is in the industry and in the news, what country usually takes all the jobs? China. JL Audio. Miramar took jobs away from China. Usually jobs leave the US and go to China. Miramar was able to bring jobs here from China. JL Audio, yeah, that does deserve a hand clap, was already here in Miramar and could choose anywhere in this world to bring that division of operations to, and decided that Miramar was the place to expand and to grow. And we're committed to ensure that that type of confidence remains in our city. And these are just examples of some of the companies that are here. Now, in terms of the business community, we have strong office space, industrial space, as well as retail, a nice balance of diversity of corporate businesses here in the city. And this is just a reflection of some of the corporate residents right here in the city of Miramar. I'm sure you all recognize many of those brands. At this time, I'd like to recognize Memorial Healthcare Systems. Specifically, Memorial Hospital Miramar is located right here in Miramar for 172nd and Pembroke Road. They are one of our strongest corporate partners. We have many strong corporate partners, but Memorial Healthcare, whenever we pick up the phone, they are responsive because they are our local hospital. They care for the needs of the sick, the injured, and the dying. And we definitely appreciate their partnership. Leah Carpenter, the CEO of that location, who is a Miramar resident, sends her regrets for not being able to be here, but they're actually having an employee recognition event that's conflicting tonight. So they would have been here, but because of the conflict, they were not able to be present. But we thank them for sending a representative. So what other investments are taking place in the city of Miramar? And now we'll take a look at our economic development activity in terms of what direct investments are coming. We have businesses here, so are we still growing? Is more activity planned? Are we losing businesses? What does that climate look like? Well, if there's any doubt that Miramar is slowing down, guess again. As you can see here, there are almost 2,000 residential units planned in Miramar. Additional residential development, valued at over $191 million in just construction investment here in the city of Miramar. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. The employment rate is very strong in the city of Miramar. We're beating the national, state, and county rates in terms of our employment activity. You know, and no place has a 0% unemployment rate. Even if everyone had a job, no one never stays in a job. There's attrition, there's people leaving for jobs. So typically, if everything was perfect, I think the industry standard is probably close around 4%, just to account for people changing jobs or getting promotions, moving out of a city for whatever reason. And we're right at 4.9%, doing very well. I talked a little bit about the planned units, but over 11,000 building permits that our building department is processing right now. Construction values of almost $350 million. That is striking. We know that the economy isn't totally back to the heyday, but when you look at this type of investment, the city of Miramar is presenting and demonstrating the type of activity that shows signs that, at least here in Miramar, that there's confidence in our city, there's confidence in the leadership, and we have to ensure that we continue to do the things to keep that momentum. And that's something that we all can be proud of here in the city of Miramar. In terms of our financial rating, you know, we've done a few refundings of bonds and bond issues where the Wall Street underwriters get a chance to pop up the hood and kick the tires and see exactly how we're doing. And Moody has rated us at an 8A3 bond rating by Moody's. So that's a very strong rating that gives us very competitive interest rates in terms of whenever we have to refinance or fund our capital projects, our other funding needs in the city of Miramar. Just yesterday, I was driving somewhere, and I was coming from a meeting, a Broward League of Cities meeting, and my phone pinged. And when I arrived here at City Hall, I looked at the notice. It was a notice from Sun Sentinel about Miramar. And there was an article that said that Miramar has one of the highest economies in the nation. I've already shared some of the data that supports that. But when you look at these statistics here, you may not see, I'll just highlight a few. You know, 9th largest growth in working age population. You know, even during the recession, Miramar continued to grow. And that was one of our major challenges. When property values were going down, people were losing their jobs, more people were still moving in the city of Miramar, creating a tremendous strain on our operations and management. You know, our police department couldn't keep up in terms of us having the right number of police officers and firefighters in our utilities department and public works. So it was a very tough time. And we're starting to see signs of us being able to come out of that. But these are some great statistics that show that Miramar is continuing to grow despite the doom and gloom you're hearing nationally. But when we come here in the city of Miramar, although not perfect, we have the foundation to continue the growth that is required to keep pace, to stay ahead of everyone else. So why are these businesses coming to Miramar? Miramar is recognized as a platinum city, and that designation just shows, well, how do we accommodate business activity here? When businesses want to come here and we're competing against Coral Springs and our friendly neighbors in Pembroke Pines, which are other great and outstanding cities, and Coral Springs and Doral and Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, the competition is fierce. So in the city of Miramar, we have to continue to be in a position to make doing business very easy. So some of the things we do is when we're making direct investments into these hundreds of thousands of square feet in industrial space, when, let's say, if JetBlue comes here and they need 100,000 square feet, money, time is money. How long will it take us to get our building permit in? So we streamline that process. We help fast track their permitting process. I see Commissioner Schwartz, don't take our secrets back to Pembroke Pines, but our economic development staff actually takes the time to walk with our potential business residents and help them with site selection. Help them understand where are the best places for your type of business. You're a light industrial firm? Well, we can't put you in the middle of a residential neighborhood, but you know we have an industrial park that has development opportunities for you to go. So we make sure that the right businesses are in the right places in the right areas in our city. So we really try to streamline that process. In addition, we offer small business assistance programs. So, and there's more small businesses in Miramar than actually. We talk a lot about the Fortune 500 companies, but in Broward County, do you know that 90% of the businesses in Broward County are mom and pop small businesses? In Miramar, we offer many incentives for them. And don't you know, I talked about the Chamber of Commerce earlier. If you're a Miramar based business, don't you know the City of Miramar, will pay for your first year's membership for the Chamber of Commerce? We understand opening up a business, starting a businesses, you have a lot of financial demands and priorities. You can come to the City of Miramar, get acclimated with our Chamber of Commerce, develop relationships. You have a year to develop those relationships. Hopefully you can get your business up and running. And then you can go on and continue off your membership with the Miramar Pembroke Pines Regional Chamber of Commerce. And here's just some of the companies that have taken advantage. The foreign trade zone, I'll talk about this later, but I'm really excited about this. The city of Miramar has one of only 2 foreign trade zones in all of Broward County. The only other foreign trade zone in Broward County is at Port Everglades. That allows import and export business to be able to import and export products with significant tax savings, in some cases even tariff-free, as long as they're creating jobs. And guess where those jobs are being created? Right here in the city of Miramar. Two of the companies that were present 2 nights ago here in our banquet hall at the Aviation Consortium, Aero Turbine and Kellstrom Defense. Do we have any representatives here from those companies? I didn't see that. Can you please stand and be recognized? How are you? Thanks for being here. Actually, one of my Bible study group members works for Aero Turbine, and he was planned to be here tonight, but the company sent him off for, I think, a sales meeting or something, and he was very disappointed in not being able to make it, so I told him I'll let you all know that he was disappointed that he couldn't make it here tonight. Kellstrom Defense. I'm so excited about this company because they are here in Miramar. They've been here for years. They were acquired by a company out in California. The company seriously considered moving their operations to more centrally in the country, I think around either Oklahoma or Texas. But our staff went to work along with the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance because aviation is part of one of the state of Florida's targeted industries. We were able to put a package for them. Not only were we able to retain them here in Miramar, but they actually left their prior location, built, I think maybe 100, almost 200,000 square foot warehouse by boat campers and added more jobs. So not only did they stay, they invested more in our city and they created more jobs. That's something that we can be proud of. Now, for the majority of you here, or residents, this is what I really get excited about, because what it really boils down to is, how is your quality of life? How happy are you here? And I know based on your financial situation, where you may live in the city, temperaments can be all over the place when you ask that question. But I want to share some information on how the city of Miramar is working to ensure that all of our city, from east to west, north and south, is benefiting from what is happening here in the city of Miramar. A couple of highlights. The long overdue police headquarters, as you see across the street, is finally being built. Our police headquarters, our original old police headquarters was damaged in Wilma back in 2005, and our police department has been crammed in the Miramar Park of Commerce for the last 10 years, and we're finally on the way, and it is due to open, I think, sometime in April or May, where our police department will finally get its rightful place to be able to continue to keep us safe. East Miramar, our historic district. We often hear that everything is happening in the west, nothing is happening in the east. And I'm going to dispel that tonight. And this is just a highlight that right now we're in phase 3 in infrastructure work. That's a water, sewer, and stormwater project that is in design right now. $22 million direct investment in improving infrastructure. Citywide, parks and recs. I know they're still upset with me for forgetting them earlier. $28 million to fix our parks, citywide. We have over 40 parks. Many of them have been in disrepair when the economy was slowing down. We didn't have the excess resources to be able to keep up with the maintenance. So we had a lot of deferred maintenance throughout the city. And we're investing $28 million in making sure that our children have a wonderful place for recreational and educational activities, and we're going to highlight some of those opportunities and accomplishments. Traffic. God knows traffic can be very tough, especially on the Miramar Parkway Corridor 75. Well, Pembroke Road overpass is on its way. As you ride on 75, you see it's coming. It seems like everything else is built. We're just waiting for the overpass to cross over 75, all right? And that's a great partnership with our neighbors, with Pembroke Pines, the Florida Department of Transportation, and Broward County coming together to make that happen. That's going to alleviate traffic tremendously. The Miramar Parkway widening of I-75 you know. When you look at what's going on right now, I'm still amazed on how the engineers and contractors are able to maintain, you know, the maintenance of traffic, to keep the traffic flow with all that heavy work taking place. And so, although it can be challenging, but help is coming. Actually, help is already here, so as we endure through the construction process, we know better days are coming. Fire Station 107, desperately needed, especially on the between I-75 and Red Road. We had a lot of gaps. So many times you may wonder when you're driving on Miramar Parkway, Flamingo, and you see a green Miami-Dade County ambulance in our city responding, giving us mutual aid because we're so busy as a city because of that shortfall without having a presence of a fire station right between Red Road and Flamingo. And Fire Station 107 is on the way. Now, for property owners, I'm sure you're happy about this statistics. Your property values are going up for the second year in a row. You know, it's no guarantee we'll see 8 to almost 10% in some cases next year, so we'll bask in the news that citywide, that the city of Miramar had an 8% increase, and the more our properties go up, the better it is for us financially, and it gives us the resources to be able to help spread, you know, the financial strain across the city. And that means that if your property values are going up, that means people are excited about Miramar. They want to move into Miramar. Property values don't go up in cities where people are trying to get out of. So we want to continue to make those property values go up. And last, Miramar is investing in our schools. Yes, schools are the responsibility of our school district. But Miramar have made significant commitments. We've decided as a city commission, that we're going to invest in early child learning with our VPK program that we support financially for any parent that wants to get their 3- and 4-year-old early education. It's available here in Miramar. At our high school level, we realize that we want to ensure that our children who choose to have a profession in public safety get early exposure, early training. Everglades High School is in the second year of a Firefighter Academy program taught by our very own fire department. I think by the time it starts in the 10th grade and through 12th grade, by the time they're done, they almost have half of their training already completed. You want to talk about a head start against the competition. For you visitors who are just, you know, peeping in and enjoying this presentation, you might want to consider, especially if you have middle school students that are going into high school and they have an interest in fire protection and EMS, you may want to enroll them in Everglades High School so they can get in the Firefighter Academy program. And not to leave our other high school out, Miramar High School, that has so many accomplishments with its IB program and their engineering program. I mean, we can just stop right there, and that's a top high school. But we did even better. We committed to support a criminal justice program at Miramar High School. So if students want to be in dispatch or to be a police officer, they are getting the training at the high school level. So by the time they graduate, they'll know if they want to continue this, and they're well ahead of their peers in terms of positioning themselves. And those are the great things that we're doing in terms of helping the residents' quality of life. Just some general data in terms of the growth. We're an international city, whether we want to accept it or not. I know some of us who've lived in the city for 20, 30 years, we still feel that we are a small bedroom community, and that's what's so great about Miramar, because we still have that hometown feel, even though we're the 4th largest city and soon to be the 3rd largest city. So watch out, Pembroke Pines, we're coming, we're coming, we're coming. We continue to grow, but we're still keeping that hometown feel. But because of our location and the growth in South Florida in general, and the attractiveness of Miramar, We're growing leaps and bounds. And we're an international community. You go in any one of our stores, you hear Spanish being spoken. You hear Dutch, you hear Creole, you hear English, you hear Patois. You hear it all. That's our base. We are a diverse community. We're equidistant from both seaports, both airports. We're literally 30 minutes from everywhere with good traffic. With good traffic. But we're 30 minutes from everywhere. We can reach Miami-Dade County. We can reach all of Broward. And maybe another 10 more minutes, we're up in Boca, in Delray Beach. And within an hour, we're at City Place in West Palm Beach. That's why Miramar is so great. And as you can see, the population growth over the years, almost 135,000 residents, plus the nearly 2,000 residents to come. As you can see, we're going to surpass 135,000 very quickly. As I mentioned before, when you're living here as a resident, you want a nice place to live. You want a place to work. Not only do you want a nice place to work, you want to have a nice salary with it. We offer that here in Miramar. Now, it's not everywhere, but we have to make sure that we are preparing ourselves for high-paying jobs. When you have the companies that we mentioned earlier, those are high-paying jobs. So where is our potential? I'll talk about that in a minute as well. Our market is very active. You know those 1,800 units? It's not all 400, 500, 700, 800, $900,000 homes, even though it's part of it. But we also have multifamily homes. There's a diversity of residential options being developed, from workforce housing to estates that are being developed right here in Miramar. So everyone has an opportunity. And we are rapidly running out of that. There's not much vacant land left. Not much vacant land left. And with these developments, and just to give you a point of reference where these developments are, just across the turnpike, there's already one phase, I think IMT. Just west of that, behind, all the way back to Flamingo Road, there's going to be more multifamily development. And on the Flamingo side, across from, I think it's at Silver Shores or Silver Falls, there's a shopping plaza that has already been developed. I mean, that's currently being developed right now. So the development continues to grow. The residential units, and I'm not sure if it's stated on, actually it is. It's on 172nd Avenue across from Everglades High School. You know those tall AM towers? They're being decommissioned, and almost 600 units would be built there. So Bass Creek Road would be extended westward to accommodate. That's the last large tract of land for residential development. Obviously, when you live here, you got a nice high-paying job, you want stuff to do that's close. The days of going downtown Miami, downtown Fort Lauderdale, all the way up to West Palm Beach just to go to a cultural event, a concert, a festival, we present those options right here in Miramar, just not a 5-minute drive, but just steps from your front door. And that's what we offer. Some of our well-known events, 4th of July celebration. I think we probably have almost a representative from every city at our 4th of July event, because we have up to 12,000, 13,000 people in Regional Park, because we have one of the best 4th of July fireworks displays, and people come from all over, including our residents, to enjoy them. We were able to attract Zoe's Winter Groove. It's been known over the years as Zoe's Summer Groove. So he changed it up. He's smart because he had it in the summer. Well, all the money isn't here in the summer. They're up in Canada, New England. So Alonzo Mourning was smart. He said, you know what? I'm going to have that event in the wintertime when all the snowbirds are here. And guess what? he picked our regional park to do his big event is the golf tournament, but his outreach event in terms of physical fitness, being a former professional basketball player with the Heat, his 5K, his health fair is right here at Regional Park, and Miramar is the home. He reached out to us last year, and we worked with him to bring that event here, and next year it'll be here again for the second year in a row, and we want to continue to attract that high-level, high-quality, family-oriented events here in the city of Miramar. Obviously, our Christmas lighting, the Universal Circus, there was a hiatus last year, but they have reached out to us, and Universal Circus is coming back to Regional Park. So we're excited about that. And actually, a plug for our Hispanic Heritage Festival event that will be taking place, I think the weekend of the 17th, of the 10th. So we have events for everyone. Our Caribbean American Heritage event we have at the Shirley Branca Park, the upcoming event with the Hispanic Heritage Festival, our Miramar Days. So we have something for everyone to enjoy right here in our city. So we're adapting with our change, we're adapting to the growth, and we want to ensure that everyone have events that they can enjoy. And as you can see in this last bullet, at any given weekend there's a concert or some festival taking place at Miramar Park. So we're probably going to have to double the size of Miramar Park. Maybe we can create some more land and make the park even larger because there's so much going on at our regional park. It has truly become a destination for our residents and even the South Broward region. And some highlights here on our, I mentioned earlier, 40 parks, 2 aquatic centers. In the video presentation you saw at the beginning of the program tonight, all of that was filmed right here in Miramar, showing our parks, showing our aquatic center, our Miramar Cultural Center, many cultural events from plays, concerts, ballets, operas. There's weddings and wedding receptions here. I mean, if you see how that banquet hall is transformed on any given weekend, if you haven't had a party here or attended a party here, just come over and just see the type of events that are taking place. We have our Broward County Branch Library right behind Town Center here where our students can go and read a book, do their homework. Nova Southeastern University, Broward College, all here. Florida International University in Broward County, right by the FBI building that was just built off 145th Street. We have from VPK to higher ed right here in the city of Miramar. And why that is so important is because companies, when they look at our city, they know that their workers have A-rated schools to attend. They have wonderful parks to go to. As a business executive, to develop my workforce, I have continuing education that's available at FIU, FAU, Nova Southeastern University, Broward College, Florida Memorial. Most of these institutions are right here in our city. So when you talk about all the things that businesses look in a community, we have it right here in Miramar. That is why your property values are going up. That is why you see all the development taking place in the city of Miramar. And I can't forget our senior program that takes place at our multi-service complex, and we'll recognize them in a moment. In our parks, at the Youth Enrichment Center, Jason Taylor, he's in the Ring of Honor for the Dolphins, one of our heroes in terms of community involvement, using his celebrity as a football player. He's been involved in the city of Miramar for the last 9 years, investing nearly $1 million in developing and improving literacy in Miramar children in our historic side of town. And all of those students are improving in their performance. They're getting scholarships. And the Miramar High School spoken word chapter, affiliated with the national champions this year. They went up to Chicago and brought the trophy back home. Do we have any representatives from the Jason Taylor Foundation present? Let's recognize them. And you should hear them on the mic with spoken word. We're going to have another event here at the Cultural Center. You all have to come back. You want to talk about some talent? And this is how great it's expanding. It's not just in Miramar. There's a spoken word club in Cypress Bay, in Weston, Dillard High School. What's the fourth school? There's another school. What is it? There's a fourth school in Broward. And Hollandale? So imagine Miramar students interacting with kids from Weston, Dillard, Hollandale. They're picking subjects. They're seeing it from all different perspectives and expressing through spoken word in a competitive environment and spirited environment. It's great entertainment, great education, and developing our youth. And we're doing that right here in the City of Miramar. And we thank Jason Taylor Foundation for his partnership with the City of Miramar. We'd like to recognize Coach Christopher McDonald-Bell. Is he here at the Miramar Optimist? Stand up, stand up. Year after year, our sprinters, distance runner, field event, kids at our Anson Sports Complex, they bring home medals, national placements, and champions, being done right at our Anson Sports Complex. And I have even more Anson news in a minute. Our Youth Advisory Council. Let's recognize our Youth Advisory Council. Stand up, please. They're from Everglades and Miramar High School, supported by our police department and the mayor's office. Every year they go to the national conference. This year it's in Nashville, so next month, in about a month, they'll be in Nashville representing our city. And our Youth Advisory Council is the best council of all the councils. They're the most professional, they're the most active, they're the smartest, they're the brightest, and they represent you very well. And we look forward to them participating in November. I had an opportunity to meet with them last month, and we want to, I have a goal to double the size because I want to also be able to get more students involved. And they'll be doing projects throughout the city, and then I want to also expand their outreach to go to Washington, D.C., to the National League of Cities Spring Conference, where we go and lobby our congressional delegation in D.C. So we're going to be reaching out to the community for your support to help us make that possible. Now, one of my favorite groups, our seniors. Will you please stand who are participating in our senior program at Sunset Lakes Community Center as well as our multi-service complex. I tell you, when I want to have fun, I hang out with our seniors because you young folk, I like my seniors. You young folk, you're too slow. You're boring. I hang out with the seniors. We're playing cards. We're line dancing. They know how to enjoy life, and they're so knowledgeable. The wisdom that they share with you. And we love you, and we'll continue to do everything we can to support your development because you're still developing, you're still growing, you're still contributing to our community. And we thank you for being here in the City of Miramar and being a part of the fabric of our community. These are some of our corporate partners that participated in the city's career fair. I'm not sure if any of the representatives from the firms are here tonight. Career Source Broward, you have a few? Great. We invited them to come back because they actually have hired Miramar residents and other participants from the South Florida area at our career fair. So when you hear the City of Miramar is having a career fair and you're looking for employment opportunities, they actually hire. It's not for show. These are companies that are coming with real job opportunities, and they're actually putting people to work. And we thank you all for being a partner with us here in Miramar. I wanted to say this treat. As you all know, you may know this gentleman, former Olympian, sprinter. He didn't get a chance to run against me, but I'll save myself the embarrassment, because by the time he would have gotten out of the blocks, I probably would just be tying my shoelaces, you know. But Mr. Bolden, Miramar resident, if you could stand, please. You know, you may, any given weekend during the track season around the world, he's an awesome and dynamic color analyst that breaks down what it takes to win. And when someone may trip out of the blocks or stumble under the lane, he knows exactly why it happens, and he explains it so in such simple terms that a slow person like me can even understand it. So, and he could have gone anywhere in the world with his resume and his ability, and Miramar is his home, and he's helping to develop champions right here in Miramar. Is Khalifa and Brianna here tonight? Come on, stand up, let us see you. These two young women, not only are they smart, beautiful, well-mannered, they have some exceptional God-given talent. And when you combine that with the expertise of a coach like Mr. Bolden, guess what it produces? A world champion. Khalifa went to, was it Cali in Colombia? The fastest young lady in her age group. Right here. And her training right here in Anson Park. Her dad, stand up, Dad, Mr. St. Ford, is with our police department. You know, we run into each other at Anson Park and around the community, and we always kick back. And I just want to say, as a father, thanks for being a rock for your daughter so that she can continue to soar and climb. So we thank you for being that example for her. Brianna Williams, she's been recognized here at the city, national champion. These are future Olympians right here in our city. And I recognize them because your tax dollars built the Anson Sports Complex. Many people probably question, why do we need the best track surface in the world? Because at the time, there was only one other place in the world that had that track technology, and that was in China for the Beijing Olympics. There may be another 4 or 5 that have been built since. But in Miramar, not only did we build it, but we're actually building leaders. We're building Olympians right here in the city of Miramar. So thank you for coming. And much continued success. Brianna, we're so proud of you and your accomplishments in terms of just shattering records of where you are. And if you two keep it up, I mean, you may be the first women to break 10 seconds. If you keep it up, it can happen. It can happen. It can happen. Now I'm just going to quickly go through some of our projects that are coming up. As we mentioned before, our police headquarters is being built. We have another public safety facility to accommodate some public safety functions that we need in our city that can't necessarily be housed in our police headquarters. Fire Station 107, which will be located right between Red Road and Flamingo. These projects, all the projects that I'm listing, are in our capital program. You can see the funding schedule. These are approved projects in our capital improvement program and funded. Now I talked earlier about phase 3. in terms of historic Miramar. Here's the turnpike. One of the challenges we've had in the city of Miramar is increasing our infrastructure on the east side, and that included putting more users on our water system, putting more users on our sewer system. So getting off of Hollywood's old system and getting off of Broward County's old system and putting them on our system. Those were phase 1 and 2. And we also took thousands of residents off of septic tank on our sewer system. Those are direct investments that have already taken place in the east. Phase 3 we're in right now with water, sewer, and stormwater drainage, over $22 million. Now, in my inaugural address, for those of you who are present, because on the campaign trail, as well as before, we always hear about, when we have significant rain events, these communities with saturated land, there's a lot of flash flooding, there's a lot of water, and it impedes the ability to have a better quality of life in Miramar. So our staff has worked quickly to identify phases to begin this process. And we'll be using state revolving loans, which is the most cost-effective funding source to fund infrastructure projects to address these issues. So we know it's there. Your cries, your complaints have not fallen on deaf ears. Our engineering and utilities department and public works departments are working hard to get the solution in. The phasing have been put in place, and we'll continue to communicate with you to give you the time schedule of how these projects work. I wish we could snap our fingers and say we're going to do it and it's done tomorrow, but it's a process, and it's coming just as we've completed phase 1, 2, in the middle of 3, and we'll be working very expeditiously as we can to address these infrastructure needs in our historic side of town. And we look forward to continuing the improvement in historic Miramar. And here's just a sample of some of the park projects at Lakeshore Park. Some improvements are coming. Harbor Lakes Park is being developed. Monarch Lakes Park will be coming soon, and some expansion in Vizcaya Park to increase the access and increased programming at our parks. And our parks aren't just for athletic activities. As you see, like with Jason, most of our parks have a community center that has computer labs in them. You can rent pavilions. You can have parties at our park facilities. So if you haven't gone to any of our parks, I definitely encourage you to visit them soon. We have Fairway Park lighting. It's very dark out there. That's a nice, intimate park at the Fairway Park, and they're well on the way with the lighting project to improve lighting. River Run Park, we're increasing the parking capacity as well as adding some additional infrastructure at River Run Park to help service and provide improved recreational support for our residents to continue the improvement of the quality of life in Miramar. Shirley Branca Park, we have little concerts out there, different activities. We're going to build a band shell at Shirley Branca Park where there's more of a formal structure where we can have and host events for historic Miramar. And in the capital improvement program as well has been talked about in many occasions is the proposed amphitheater at Regional Park, which has already been designed. And so we are definitely looking forward to having a more structured and dedicated space at Regional Park to accommodate the many concerts that are currently going there, festivals that are going there to help relieve some of the stress off our soccer fields, because right now we'll bring out a mobile stage and we're competing against our soccer programs, tearing up fields, so we want to make sure that we can have an adequate and dedicated space for these type of events, for family festivals or concerts that are currently going on right now at Regional Park, only minutes away from your home instead of going to Bayshore, Bayside, downtown Fort Lauderdale, and other places for entertainment options. I'll quickly go over some of my mayor initiatives. You saw some from our commissioners. I was just in D.C. Under the invitation of our Congresswoman Frederica Wilson, and I'll be participating in the President's My Brother's Keepers program, which is an initiative to help brown and black young males to to be who God created them to be, and that's leaders and productive citizens in our community, and it's desperately needed in our community. In addition, we'll be working with Broward County Public Schools to implement a literacy program where we're going to be reaching out to you to help us with our most vulnerable, our young kids. Broward County has recognized that the reading levels of third grade children sets the pace and is the predictor of achievement or incarceration. They can take third grade statistics and pretty much predict what the graduation rates will be and who will be at some point involved in our criminal justice system. So what we want to do is bridge the gap with those 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-year-olds sitting in those classrooms, visiting our early child care facilities where we offer our VPK programs, where you can volunteer to read to and to be read to by our Miramar children. Because it's going to take a village. When our young kids read and can comprehend, by the time they're in the 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, when they start getting introduced to algebra and geometry, when now you have to read and comprehend and bring out an equation, instead of not comprehending, now they comprehend. And now this is easy instead of hard. Now I'm disinterested. I don't want to go to school. Let me go hang out on the corner. Let me do this because I'm bored and now I'm in trouble. Or, teacher, can we have something more difficult because fractions are too easy. I'm ready for trigonometry. I'm ready for calculus. I'm ready to tackle those functions because I am going to be the next CEO of Aero Turbine. I'm going to be the next CEO of Memorial. I may be the next president of the United States. And finally, we're going to implement an Adopt a Neighbor program. We have residents and neighbors in our community that are struggling. Oftentimes, because of their struggles, they're cited with code violations. They don't have money to do their lawns. They don't have the money to repair their roof. They don't have money to paint their house. And we think, with all the businesses we have here, with all the residents we have here, with all of our students that are here, can we not volunteer 2 or 3 hours on a Saturday morning to help a fellow neighbor? I think we're better than that. I think we can do that. So when we reach out to you, we hope you will respond with 2 or 3 hours of your help. If you have the financial resources that you can leverage to provide some paint or provide tools or to provide the resources to help our effort to help beautify our homes. You know, some of us have very nice homes, but our neighbors are struggling. Maybe 2 or 3 on the block, and it's bringing the block down. Well, maybe if we help our neighbors, we can bring the block up. And we look forward to working with you in those initiatives. So where do we go from here in conclusion? We are poised for greatness here in Miramar. Our foundation is strong. The question becomes, what are we going to do with the foundation? Are we going to make the necessary decisions to chart our path? And here are some of the challenges. We talked about redeveloping East Miramar. The great thing is, this city has tackled perhaps the most daunting task in any redevelopment activity, and that is putting in infrastructure. One of the main obstacles for developers is impact fees to bring in stormwater management, sewer, and water. We already have it in place, and it's coming. Now it's just a matter of the developers identifying land that they can develop, because that cost has already been invested by the city. Why was it necessary? Because we don't want them to go anywhere else. We want them coming here. And we know when businesses come here, property values go up, we have jobs to offer, we have places to live, and we have a wonderful city, and we continue the trend, and this area will not be left behind. Our transit-oriented corridor, the 441 corridor, we already have zoning entitlements that don't require months and months of regulatory and legislative approval to change zones. We have an overlay that's already in place. And the sweet thing about it is that our neighbor to the east in West Park, and I'm glad our good friend Commissioner Brian Johnson is here, they have a mirrored TOC on their side. So a developer now can say, I can do the same thing on the Miramar side and West Park, which makes it even more attractive. So the question becomes, what decisions, what investments will continue to do to make that a reality? And I know we can do it here in the city of Miramar, and I'm committed to working with my colleagues here and with you, the residents, to make it happen. The 441 corridor, mixed-use development. We need to attract businesses, housing, transit hubs on the east. So the east functions like the west, and the west functions like the east. We have to develop a strategic plan to bring this vision to life. At our last commission meeting, I proposed to our commission for us to have a retreat. Once we have the budget process behind, we have the state of the city behind, I'm so excited to sit down with my colleagues to talk about what the future of our city can look like and what decisions we have to make. I'm so excited about that process because I know we all have the same end goal. It's just a matter of us putting the right priorities in place to help us get there. And I look forward to working with my colleagues in the community to make that happen. Can you imagine the city of Miramar with improved technology? Here's a mock-up of the upcoming new city website. Now, everybody should stand up and clap for that. Our staff is working right now in our development of our new website, and we can't wait for that launch. They're also looking at the development of a future mobile app. Not just a little dysfunctional app to come on a phone, but can you imagine paying your water bill right from your phone? Can you imagine getting a push notification not to forget to come to the State of the City address tonight on your phone? Can you imagine walking your child to the park, one of our 40, and you see a trip hazard on the sidewalk, and you can take a picture of it, send that picture to our Public Works Department where they can clearly see what's the issue, so they don't have to send a crew out to go investigate and then go back to the yard to get the tools to come back to fix the trip hazard. They can see from your picture what the issue is and be more efficient and come out and address it. Can you imagine seeing suspicious activity in your neighborhood and you can take a picture of a would-be criminal and send it to our police department, and they already have a visual of that suspect to help with the prevention or the investigation to lead to a prosecution of a criminal act? It is very possible, and I know we can do it here in Miramar. Can you imagine? We have to attract new industries. We've been very successful in attracting a nice aviation sector. But you know, South Florida is the gateway to the Caribbean and Latin America. Why not be here? You have companies like Twitter, Facebook, PayPal, Uber, and the list goes on. They are expanding in these emerging markets, and they are not planting their companies in those emerging markets. They are staying in the US and they're picking South Florida because all the talent is here. Everyone from every country in the Caribbean and Latin America live here. You have nice housing here. You have great schools here. You have a great city like Miramar. We have you here to be the talent and resources for these companies to be able to expand in these markets. So as a commission and as a city, we have to make the right decisions at the right time to continue the growth. We can't rest on our laurels of all the businesses that we've already recruited and retained here. We have to keep pushing to ensure that we go from an aviation sector to an advanced technology sector to a light manufacturing sector. The list goes on, and we can do it in the city of Miramar. Can you imagine? Business support. Would a business incubator do well here in the city of Miramar? Those are questions we have to answer. Where would it go? Who would we target? Startups or emerging? These are questions we have to answer. Because you know what? Before Silicon Valley became Silicon Valley, when San Francisco was the big mammoth, someone in Silicon Valley had to say, listen, San Francisco is expensive. We have land. We have the university system. We have academia. We have the fundamental components to attract startups that will be the leaders of the information technology age, and Silicon Valley will be the gold standard for the world in terms of information technology. What will we in Miramar say and do to say we have the foundation, we have the talent, we have the resources to be the next gold standard of the world? And that is what we can do here in the city of Miramar. Can you imagine? Oh, let me go back. The city of Miramar is in the process of undertaking or beginning the process to do a disparity study that has already been discussed in our commission. How are we doing as a city in terms of buying goods and services from our minority, women-owned, and veteran community? We need to answer that question. Because if there's disparity, we need to correct it. Because you know why? Most of the business owners in our community are minority, women, and veterans. Which means that if we're not buying from our own, we're buying from somewhere else. So if there's a disparity, we need to have the policies in place to level the playing field to ensure that our residents and our businesses have a fair opportunity to do business with this $250 million city. $250 million city. So for those of us in the community who still think we are a bedroom community, from this aspect of being small, you can be a medium-sized city like we are and have a hometown bedroom community feel, but we don't have to act like it, and definitely we don't have to do business like one, because we're not. Not with $250 million. And when most of our businesses are mom and pop businesses and small businesses, we have to ensure that our businesses have the best opportunity to grow and prosper so that our families can be prosperous, so our families can send our children to college or to the military or to a trade school, so that we can retire comfortably because there's ample opportunity. And finally, with these Fortune 500 companies and all of these mom and pop businesses, we got to get our act together and find out how do we feed this supply chain. Because Kellstrom Defense, Aero Turbine, Humana, Carnival, they don't need to be going to Virginia, Silicon Valley, Washington, D.C., New York, Ohio, when they have talent right here in the city of Miramar. So we have to find a way to match our small and emerging businesses and medium-sized businesses with our Fortune 500 companies. Because the stronger our own microcosm of economic activity taking place right in our neighborhoods continues to grow us all. And we don't need to be exporting our resources out of state or even out of our city when the opportunities to make beneficial and mutually benefiting relationships right here in our city. And with that, thank you for coming out. Our city, as you can see, is strong. It can get stronger. And we look forward as a city commission in working with you to ensure that our future is secure. And thank you for coming out.